Hello, I'm John Mayberry, currently a board member of the Public Works, also a town resident for 58 years, and own a business in town. So I kind of felt compelled to speak up and talk about what I've been watching in the charter, make a few comments, and hopefully allow you to reflect on some of the things that perhaps I have observed. Well, the first thing is that I, like you, thought looking at our town charter was a good idea. Voted for it, thought it was a good thing to do, look at what's going on, and thought that the people that were on that charter, or are on that charter, are the right people to be doing that. So I want everybody to know that. I know that's a pretty lengthy process. I know they've had to endure a lot of regulations and laws and things that they have to do, protocol, did a lot of visits, did a lot of traveling, and I applaud them for all of that work. I think what I want to bring to your attention today, though, are a few things that kind of have just come to light in the last 2-3 weeks, maybe possibly a couple of months for some people to see, and see if you don't dig in a little deeper as you get your mailings. I suspect most people by this point have received this mailing, as I did at home, and I've checked with several people and they have as well, which kind of gives you an overview. I think I heard them refer to it as a more concise way to tell people what the charter is all about. I'm not going to get into it right now, but if anybody wants to talk about it, there's a few things on here that may be less than perfectly accurate. What you are going to receive, though, that is supposed to be very accurate, is this 30-plus page document, which will reflect our town charter moving forward. I've taken the time to basically memorize it. I've gone through it with highlighters, I've tabbed out pages, I've talked to people about it. And I think I have some basic concerns, and they've been brought to my attention by some activity that has recently occurred around this. So the way I read it, the new town charter is going to have a council of 7, but I want to make sure everybody understands that 4 people are really the majority as you read through this document that you're going to receive. So everybody talks about 7, when in reality the majority is 4. So we need 4 people to enact what we're going to do going forward as a town. Those 4 people are also going to select our town manager. I know some of these documents tell us that that person's going to be educated, they're going to be professional, they're going to be suited for the position. But that's all depending on whether those 4 individuals, see and do those kinds of things to make sure that happens. We're not going to vote like a mayor. It's just going to be an appointment by 4 council members. So you won't have a vote on who our new town manager is. I read right on their cover letter that they're going to approve the budget, enact the bylaws, and be the licensing authority. 4 people and a town manager. I also read that they're going to create a Department of Finance. How many more tax dollars is that going to cost us? Town councils in several towns receive a decent stipend, some $8,000, $10,000, $12,000. Is that what we're going to be paying our town council? It hasn't been made clear to me, and I don't think it can be, because the town council is going to decide how much they get paid. It's written right into the charter. So I go on to these pages that you're going to receive, and I really encourage everybody to take the time to read it and or ask questions about it, because it goes on to say in different aspects what's going to happen. One line says the school committee is going to stay in place, like they did a good thing. It's a state mandate that has to happen. The next line, 1 line, 2 lines actually, says the Board of Selectmen is dissolved. The remaining elected boards become appointed. What it doesn't point out there, though, that's 25 elected positions. That's your elected Board of Selectmen, your elected Board of Assessors, East Long Meadow Housing Authority, 6 library trustees, the moderator, the planning board, and the Board of Public Works. I underline the planning board. There'll be no taxpayer vote or choice in who the rest of that representation is. Those appointments are going to be made by the town manager, again, who is picked by the 4 town council members. It says here that we've applied sound principles of government, including accountability, checks and balances, a voice of the town citizens, and a clear division of responsibility and powers. I find that hard to digest as I continue to go through it, understanding that 4 people and a town manager, and the rest is by appointment. Many less checks and balances than a town meeting, 34 elected officials, and a lot of other things that go into the different appointments of and hiring of department managers, etc. It says, at the current time, it's difficult for the average citizen to navigate the provisions of our current situation. Maybe that is a good thing. I've had situations actually going to the planning board and other places myself as a resident and or as a business owner. I had to provide additional information, colors of my building, sizes of my property, surveys had to be done. But I think that's a good thing because we do want to preserve our town the way it's been developed over these years. We really don't want to have somebody be able to, just 4 people and a town manager, waive our bylaws, waive the requirements, okay the colors. I think it's up to the residents, the planning board, and other people to do that. As I go further in here, I just continue to see things that give us a lack of taxpayer control, a lack of vote, and many other concerning items. It would take me way too long to go page by page, but I certainly would want to encourage you to take the time to go through it and really understand it. All the legislative powers of the town shall be exercised by the town council. All of the municipal affairs will be vested in the executive branch, headed by the town manager, appointed, not voted. The word emergency. Emergency means a sudden, unexpected, unforeseen happening or occurrence or condition. Seems rather vague to me. Certainly there's things in here that allow emergencies to take place. Afternoon meetings, morning meetings, meetings that taxpayers who are working can't get to. Our current form of government allows for plenty of notification, evening meetings, and plenty of input. And finally, many votes. The word town bulletin board refers to the bulletin board in the town hall. We've got to have other ways, such as a town meeting, when it gets printed, posted, distributed, with plenty of time for people to understand issues. When we look at who they pick for the president, 4 members, or the majority, will pick the president. The president shall appoint all the members and committees of the council. So any committee they decide to come up with, the president will appoint them. I doubt that the 4 members who pick the president would go against what the president wants, but I guess that's a possibility. Meetings, again, any time of day. It says here that residents should have a reasonable opportunity to speak at any such meeting of the town council. Well, I guess that would be better than the most recent selectmen meeting when we weren't able to have a reasonable opportunity. But it says otherwise, except as otherwise provided by executive session, which I think most recently we did go into an executive session that maybe we shouldn't have. And non-residents, employees, and other interested parties may not be allowed to speak, or may be allowed to speak, so therefore may not be allowed. And any rules and regulations that are adopted by the council may include time limitations on public comments. I don't know about you, but I really wouldn't want to be stymied on some things where I need to be heard. I think the town meetings allows everybody to come microphone to microphone. Unless you're asking the same redundant question and the moderator questions it, that meeting could go on for days. I think that's important, and not be stymied at some kind of time limit. As far as the minutes of the meetings, the minutes of the previous council meeting are going to be made available no later than the next regular scheduled meeting. This is important for you to hold on to that thought. Because in here it says that 2 meetings and 2 votes will adopt bylaws and other such situations of changes in our laws, changes in our zoning, or spending of funds. That means the taxpayer has to wait until the second meeting to get information in order to make a decision, an informed decision about what they're going to speak to them about. And then after the vote is taken, that the taxpayers may not agree with, there's 21 days to collect 500 signatures to get the horse that's halfway across the field back in the barn. Instead of our current situation where anything that's a bylaw in nature that is going to be changed is let's catch it before it gets out of the barn. That could be such things as big box, drive-through, side setbacks, parking regulations. All of those things can be passed by our new town council. I guess the other thing that's striking me as kind of interesting is the town manager and the town council shall have the licensing authority, the power to issue the license, make all the necessary rules and regulations and issuance of such licenses, and the conditions and restrictions. So I'm thinking that possibly some of our restaurants and entertainment venues may actually be able to be open much later. How much will that cost our policing? Especially if the city of Springfield is bringing their times down and has added additional police force to that district. I think we have a lot of things to think about with this new town charter, and I think we've only just heard pieces of it up to this point. Now, I do want to come back and in closing just kind of say that I believe that the individuals on our town charter review committee stepped out to do the right thing, to make a difference in what we had going on prior to their development. Unfortunately, I think by these sweeping reform, which it says in their very beginning, they've actually gone just a little too far. There is an opportunity for us to vote no, and by voting no, we could suggest that the town charter committee stays established. Those who may want to exit could exit, and a few more could go on. And we could actually review this again one more time for next year. I applaud the 5 to 7 person select persons through this town council. That makes sense. So could we have gone to 5 or 7 select persons? Could we have given the administrative assistant town manager-like powers by giving them more responsibility and holding them more accountable? We could. There's a recall provision in here that they'll speak to that we would be able to recall the town councilors. Well, I'm a signer on a petition for the town meeting, and at the town meeting this year, May, when you vote no for this, we're going to be able to have a recall provision signed in so that we can recall all elected positions. All 25 of the elected positions that are on here could be recalled so that we could end up keeping control over our government. I'm just concerned that we need to take the time, and we're only going to see this in the last 2 weeks, but we all need to take the time to really understand what's in here and not just take the word of some people that say it's going to be better. And in closing, it is definitely an emotional swell that is occurring right now based on what we saw at the most recent select persons meeting. I'm just hoping that we don't end up with 4 council members that end up being our current select board experience on steroids. Thank you.